All right, I'm going to give you a little test.
Daću im jedan mali test.
Last night we talked about the basics.
Sinoć smo govorili o nekim osnovama.
What was the foundation principle of health?
Koji je neki temeljni princip zdravlja?
Remember the cookies.
Sjećate se?
Remember the man with the sore foot.
Sjećate se čoveka koga je bolelo stopalo?
What's the law?
Koji je zakon?
Reason from cause to effect.
Da rezonujemo od uzroka do posljedica.
On top of that there's 3 golden pillars.
I na tom temelju su 3 zlatna stuba.
First one.
Prvi.
The life is in the blood.
Život je u krvi.
Second one.
Drugi.
Perfect health requires perfect circulation.
Savršeno zdravlje zahteva savršenu cirkulaciju.
Third one.
Treći.
What you think about life.
Ono što ti misliš o životu.
That's basically what we'll be talking about on Friday night.
To je u stvari ono o čemu ćemo govoriti u petak uveče.
Then on top of that we had the laws of health, 15 laws of health.
I na vrhu toga mi smo imali 15 zakona zdravlja.
Okay, now this is not a medical lecture.
Znači ovo nije zdravstveno predavanje, medicinsko predavanje.
This is a health lecture.
Ovo je zdravstveno predavanje.
We described what disease was last night.
Mi smo objasnili šta je bolest sinoć.
Okay? And so basically we're looking at lifestyle diseases.
U stvari mi sagledavamo bolesti stila života.
Which basically says if you have a disease,
što znači ako imate bolest,
something wrong with the lifestyle.
Neki je problem sa stilom života.
So you don't treat the disease.
Znači vi ne tretirate bolest,
you improve the lifestyle.
Vi poboljšate stil života, navike.
Now there are many things that are factors in diseases.
Postoje dosta faktora koji utiču na bolesti.
Okay? Things like toxicities.
Kao što je toksičnost.
Do we live in a toxic world?
Da li mi živimo u toksičnom svetu?
Very. Oh yes,
jako
right. Okay. Inflammation.
Upala.
We'll be talking about that a little bit tonight.
Malo ćemo o tome govoriti večeras.
A weakened immune system.
Slab imunni sistem.
Microorganisms.
Mikroorganizmi.
And free radicals.
I slobodni radikali.
All of these we'll mention tonight.
Sve to ćemo pomenuti večeras.
Then there's the last one.
I onda je posljednji.
That's the broken mind.
To je slomljeni um.
We talk about that on Friday night.
O tome ćemo govoriti u petak uveče.
Might even mention it tonight.
Možda ću ga i pomenuti malo večeras.
Number 1 killer in Serbia is heart disease.
Broj 1 ubica u Srbiji je bolesti srca.
I think we talk about that on Thursday.
O tome ćemo govoriti u četvrtak.
Number 2 is going to be cerebral vascular disease.
Broj 2 su moždani udari.
If you prevent heart disease, you're preventing cerebral vascular disease.
Ako se zaštitite od bolesti srca, vi ćete se zaštititi od moždanih udara.
Number 3 killer is going to be lung cancer.
I broj 3 će biti rak pluća.
And that doesn't surprise me since I've been here.
I mene to uopšte ne iznenađuje od kad sam ja ovde.
So many people smoke.
Toliko puno ljudi puši.
And that's one of the major causes of lung cancer.
To je možda jedan od glavnih uzroka raka pluća.
Now, how many of you have had cancer?
Koliko ste vas imali rak?
Okay. Few brave souls.
Par hrabrih duša.
No, the reality is.
Realnost je.
Every single one of you have had cancer.
Svako od vas je imao rak.
It starts one cell at a time.
Počinje sa jednom ćelijom.
And when that cancer cell arises,
kad ta ćelija raka poraste,
it can either continue to divide,
ona može da nastavi da se deli,
or it can be taken care of.
Ili može da se zbrine.
And which has happened to almost all of us.
Što se dešava skoro svima nama.
What takes care of that cancer cell?
Šta se pobrine za tu ćeliju raka?
That's going to be the immune system.
To će biti imunni sistem.
Okay? Now, cancer basically deals with one part of the cell.
Znači, kancer se nosi sa jednom ćelijom.
What is that a picture of?
Šta je slika ovoga?
That's the DNA.
To je DNK.
Okay? Now, there is a program in the DNA for cancer.
Postoji program u DNK za rak.
And it causes apoptosis.
I on prouzrokuje apoptozu.
Do you know what that is?
Da li znate šta je to?
That's programmed cell death.
To je programirana ćelija za ubistvo.
Another way of putting it is cell suicide.
To je još jedan termin je samoubistvo ćelije.
So when one of your cells starts to be mutated,
kada jedna od ćelija počinje da mutira,
its DNA says kill yourself.
DNK kaže ubi se.
Now that's a little picture of the etiology of cancer.
Ovo je samo jedna slika te etologije raka,
But look at all the apoptosis.
ali pogledajte sve apoptoze.
Yeah, opportunities all along the way to kill the cancer.
Mogućnosti su svugdje na putu da se rak ubije ili spreči.
Now, if the cells divide enough, what happens to the cells?
Ako se ćelije dovoljno razgrade,
They form a tumor.
dešava se da one formiraju tumor.
Now, there's an excellent medication we can take to stop the tumor growth.
Postoji odličan lek koji možemo da uzmemo da zaustavimo rast tumora.
You thought I said we weren't going to talk about medicine, right?
Vi ste mislili da smo ipak rekli nećemo govoriti o lekovima.
Well, it depends on what you call medicine.
U stvari zavisi šta vi nazivate lekom.
That's medicine.
Ovo je lek.
One of those bananas have a tumor necrosis factor.
Jedna od ovih banana ima faktor nekroze tumora.
Which one?
Koja je ta?
Yeah, this one right here.
Ova.
The more brown spots, the better.
Što više brown tačkica ima, to je bolja.
People like their bananas just out of the green stage.
Ljudi vole svoje banane čim onako prođu zelenu fazu.
Let them age a little bit.
Dozvolite malo da ostare.
They kill the cancer cells, kills the tumors.
One ubijaju ćelije raka i tumore.
Strengthens your immune system.
Jača vaš imunni sistem.
All right, now how many different types of cancers are there?
Koliko različitih tipova raka postoji?
There's over 100 different types of cancers.
Preko 100.
Okay? In 2018,
2018.
9,600,000 people in the world died of cancer.
9,8 miliona ljudi je umrlo od raka.
That's one in every 6 deaths.
To je jedan u svakih 6 smrtnih slučajeva.
Yeah, okay. Some of the reasons for cancer.
Neki od uzročnika raka,
Contact with our environment.
znači kontakt s našom sredinom,
Our environment has gotten bad.
naša sredina je stvarno sve loše i lošije.
But now many of us say, okay, but this is what causes cancer.
Ali većina nas će reći, ovo uzrokuje rak.
We have a list of things we say that's what's going to cause my cancer.
Imamo određenu listu stvari koje će da prouzrokuje rak.
Let me go down some of the more common ones we're going to blame on.
Evo, proći ćemo redom neke koje obično kažemo da su uzročnici.
Have you heard of genetics?
Da li ste čuli za gene?
Lays the foundation for cancer.
Ono je daje temelj raku.
It does.
To u stvari čini on.
But I'm going to go quickly through the list.
Ja ću samo brzo proći kroz listu.
Then we're going to go slowly through the list.
I onda ćemo polako da razgradimo tu listu.
And show how at every excuse for cancer there's a way to stop it.
Znači, na svakom izgovoru za rak vi možete da ga zaustavite.
Usually we enter what's called the cancer age when we get older.
Postoji neki segment u starosti kada ostarimo da ga dobijemo.
Inflammation.
Upala.
Matter of fact, that's at the foundation of every chronic disease.
To je temelj svake hronične bolesti.
All right, tobacco.
Duvanski dim.
That's a major killer from cancer.
To je jedan od glavnih ubica raka.
Alcohol.
Alkohol.
Okay. The chemicals that we have in our homes.
Hemikalije koje imamo u našim domovima.
Did you know that viruses can cause cancer?
Da li znate da virusi mogu da prouzrokuju rak?
I'll be telling you how we discovered that.
Ja ću malo da govorim o tome kako smo otkrili.
Not eating enough fruits and vegetables.
Nekonzumiranje dovoljno voća i povrća.
Being overweight.
Gojaznost.
Free radicals.
Slobodni radikali.
Not getting enough exercise.
Da se ne krećete dovoljno.
A weakened immune system.
Slabi imunni sistem.
Okay, so those are things that, yes, they can lead to cancer.
Znači sve ovo što smo naveli mogu da dovedu do raka.
All right, now let's look at them again a little bit closer.
Ajde malo sada bliže da ih pogledamo.
Tobacco.
Duvanski dim.
1/3 of all cancers are caused by tobacco.
1/3 od svih rakova su uzrokovana duvanskim dimom.
It's a huge waste of money.
To je ogromno bacanje novca.
Now, in the United States,
u Sjedinjenim državama
it costs about $4 for one pack of cigarettes.
Sada košta $4 jedna pakla cigareta.
I think that's great.
Ja mislim da je to odlično.
Okay. Everybody is going to quit smoking.
Svako će da prestane da puši.
It just depends on when you're going to quit.
Zavisi samo kada ćete prestati.
You can quit right now.
Možete sad odmah da prestanete.
Or you can quit when you gotta quit.
Ili kada morate da prestanete.
But everyone will quit smoking.
Ali svako će prestati da puši.
Okay? There's no, and we're going to talk more about this when we talk about heart disease.
Ali više ćemo o ovome govoriti kad budemo govorili o bolestima srca.
So we shouldn't have to worry about tobacco.
I ne bi trebali da brinemo o duvanskom dimu.
Matter of fact, that was good news.
U stvari, to je dobra vest.
If you don't smoke,
Ako ne pušite,
you cut your risk of cancer by 1/3.
znači umanjujete rizik raka za 1/3.
All right? We got the alcohol thing.
Imamo alkohol.
Now, I hate alcohol.
Ja mrzim alkohol.
First of all, it makes you do really stupid things.
Čini vas da radite jako glupe stvari.
Second of all,
Druga stvar,
it wastes a huge amount of money.
bacate toliko para.
But the next thing,
Ali sljedeća stvar,
it's one of the major causes of cancer in the neck and mouth area.
kaže, jedan je od glavnih uzročnika raka u vratu i grlu.
But besides that,
Ali osim toga,
it's a leading cause of breast cancer in women,
vodeći uzrok raka dojke kod žena,
liver cancer,
raka jetre
and colon cancer.
i raka debelog creva.
Do we need alcohol?
Da li nam je potreban alkohol?
Now, let me tell you something first.
Evo nešto ću vam prvo reći.
You're going to hear people saying, yeah, but a little alcohol is good for you.
Da li će čuti ljude kako kažu malo alkohola je dobro za nas?
How many have heard of that?
Koliko je vas čulo za to?
Yeah, I've heard people say that.
Ja sam čuo da ljudi kažu to.
There is a man named Armstrong, a Dr. Armstrong.
Postoji ime jednog doktora Armstronga.
He wrote a book.
On je napisao knjigu.
Apparently it's a very popular seller in the country of Ukraine.
Dosta je nakon velikoj prodavi bestselleri u Ukrajini.
When I went there the first time in 1995,
Kad sam prvi put tamo otišao 1995.
the number one question we got every single night,
Broj jedan pitanje koje smo dobili svako veče.
what do you think about urine therapy?
Šta mislite o terapiji s mokraćom?
Now, did you ever hear about urine therapy?
Da li ste čuli o terapiji s mokraćom?
Drink it,
Pite,
snuff it up your nose,
gurnite ga u nos,
gargle with it,
znači grkljite,
because someone said so.
jer je to neko rekao.
Hey, I'm not going to do it.
Ja to neću da učinim.
And whereas there may be some beneficial effect
Iako možda postoje neke male beneficije svega
from
toga,
urine and from alcohol,
i od mokraći i od alkohola,
there's other ways to get the same effects from more safe substances.
postoje i druga mesta gde možete da dobijete isto dobre stvari od drugih supstanci.
We don't need alcohol.
Nije nam potreban alkohol.
All right, what about genetics?
Šta ćemo sa genima?
Can you change your genetics?
Da li možete da promenite vaše gene?
Oh, yeah. I just mentioned alcohol.
Ja sam upravo pomenuo alkohol.
There is a gene on the 17th chromosome
Postoji gen na 17. hromozomu.
that basically it's a recessive gene
To je znači jedan gen koji imamo,
that makes you more prone to addictions.
koji čini da ste više podležni ovisnosti.
My father probably had that gene.
Moj otac je verovatno imao taj gen.
He died an alcoholic.
On je umro kao alkoholičar.
Liver just stopped working one day.
Jednog dana jetra samo prestala da radi.
I am his son.
Ja sam njegov sin.
I may well have that recessive gene.
Ja bi možda imao taj gen.
Will I die of alcoholism?
Da li ću ja umreti od alkoholizma?
Not if I don't drink alcohol,
Ne ako ja ne pijem alkohol,
but there's something else.
ali postoji još nešto.
A study done out of China.
Jedno istraživanje koje je rađeno u Kini.
People who have a vegetarian diet,
Znači ljudi koji se hrane biljnom ishranom,
it keeps those genes from expressing.
to zadržava te gene da se oni ispolje.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, overweight, allergies.
Znači bolesti srca, rak, dijabetes, gojasnost, alergije.
So if you're worried about these diseases,
Ako se vi plašite ovih bolesti,
besides the fact that a vegetarian diet is the healthiest diet,
osim toga što je biljna ishrana zdravija ishrana,
it controls your genetics too.
ono u isto vreme kontroliše vaše gene.
I like that idea.
Ja volim tu ideju.
Okay? So we don't have to worry about your genetics.
Ne ono brinemo o genima.
How about overweight?
Šta ćemo sa gojaznošću?
Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of that since I've been here in Serbia.
Od kad sam ovdje, ja nisam vidio jako puno gojaznih ljudi.
I congratulate you.
Ja vam čestitam.
Yeah, I'm from America.
Ja sam iz Sjedinjenih država.
See plenty of it over there.
tamo, ja ih vidim dosta.
Here is your recipe for losing weight.
Evo, ovo je vaš recept da izgubite kile.
A good vegetarian diet,
Dobra biljna ishrana,
high fiber,
dosta vlakana,
plenty of water,
dosta vode
and lots of
i
exercise.
dosta fizičke aktivnosti.
Okay? And if you do those things, you're not going to be overweight.
I ako to sve učinite, nećete biti gojazni.
They have a saying in Japanese.
Postoji jedan izraz u Japanu,
It's called hairahachibu.
haira hachibu,
It means basically stop eating at 80%.
što znači da prestanete da jedete kad ste 80% puni.
This is a Japanese proverb.
To je neka mudra izreka, japanska mudra izreka.
80% of the food that you eat is to maintain your body.
Znači 80% hrane koju jedete je da održi vašu telesnu težinu,
20% is to maintain your doctor.
a 20% je da održi vašeg doktora.
We got to get rid of these high fat foods.
Moramo da uklonimo ove visokokalorične ili masne namirnice.
We got to get rid of the terrible habit of eating all the time.
Moramo da se otarasimo navike da stalno jedemo i grickamo.
Even though it's good food,
Iako je to dobra i zdrava hrana,
don't eat between meals.
nemojte da jedete između obroka.
Okay? Eat nothing after 3 o'clock if you're trying to lose weight.
Nemojte ništa da jedete posle 3 sata popodne ako želite da izgubite kile.
And people say, I'll starve to death.
Ljudi kažu, ja ću ogladneti do smrti.
I'll give you a deal.
Ja ću vam dati jedan dogovor.
If you skip supper
Ako vi preskočite večeru
and you die of starvation before breakfast,
i ako umrete od gladi do doručka,
I will pay your funeral expenses.
ja ću platiti troškove vaše sahrane.
Yeah, you're not going to starve to death.
Vi nećete umreti od gladi.
Okay, I'm not saying. Okay, and then watch how much food you eat.
I pazite koliko hrane jedete.
We don't need that extra 20%.
Nama nisu potrebni tih ekstra 20%.
So we can take care of the overweight problem.
Znači možemo da se pobrinemo za gojaznost.
We'll talk about that some more when we get to heart disease and to
O
diabetes.
tome ćemo malo više govoriti kad budemo govorili o bolestima srca i dijabetesu.
What about those chemicals we have in our homes?
Šta ćemo sa hemikalijama koje imamo u kući?
You know, we had a big hurricane in America some years ago
Pre više godina u Americi je bio jedan uragan.
called Hurricane Katrina.
To je bio uragan Katarina.
Almost destroyed the whole city of New Orleans.
Skoro je ceo grad New Orleans uništio.
But so many houses were destroyed.
Puno kuća je uništeno.
So our benevolent government
I naša vlada
had some mobile homes built.
imala jedne mobilne kuće koje su sagradili.
Took them down there.
Odneli su ih tamo.
And they were nice.
Oni su bile lepe kuće.
People moved into these nice, everything's in there.
I ljudi su se uselili u te kuće koje su imale sve.
Carpet on the floor.
Znači imali su tepih na podu,
Curtains on the windows.
zavese na prozorima,
Nice furniture.
lep nameštaj.
Within 2 years,
U roku od 2 godine
in every single house,
u svakoj kući
at least one person had a very serious chronic disease.
jedna osoba je imala hroničnu bolest.
Why?
Zašto?
100 years ago,
Pre 100 godina
what were carpets made out of?
od čega su se pravili tepisi?
Wool or cotton?
Znači od vune ili od pamuka?
Today, what are carpets made out
Od
of?
čega se danas prave tepisi?
Chemicals.
Hemikalija.
Curtains are made out of chemicals.
I zavese se prave od hemikalija.
The paint on your wall has chemicals in it.
Znači farba na zidovima ima hemikalije.
These things outgas.
Znači one isparavaju.
And all those gases into the people was causing serious problems.
I svi ti gasovi ulaze u ljude i uzrokuju velike probleme.
And our cleaning substances do the same thing.
I hemikalije za čišćenje rade istu stvar.
Matter of fact, it's very dangerous to get a bucket of water.
Jako je opasno uzeti kantu vode.
Oh, this is a good cleaner. Put some of that in there.
Znači uzmete nekog hemikaliju, stavite ga unutra.
There's a nice one too.
Kaže i ovaj je dobar, stavite i ovaj.
Don't do that.
Nemojte to da činite.
These are chemicals.
To su hemikalije.
You mix the wrong chemicals together,
Ako pomešate pogrešne hemikalije,
you make a toxic poison.
vi stvarate toksični otrov.
So let's make our own cleansers.
Ajde sada da napravimo naš za čišćenje hemikalija.
Get some vinegar.
Uzmite sirće,
Put some lemon peeling in the vinegar.
stavite kore od limuna u sirće,
Leave it there for a few days.
ostavite tu par dana,
Maybe put a few drops of oil of oregano in there.
stavite par kapljica ulja divljeg origana,
That will clean anything.
To će očistiti sve.
It will kill any virus or bacteria.
Ubiće svaki virus i bakteriju.
Matter of fact, oil of our oregano is a very strong antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal.
Znači, ulje divljeg oregana je jako dobro protiv virusa, protiv bakterija, protiv gljivica.
Use baking soda to clean your pots and pans.
Znači, koristite soda bikarbonu da operete vaše šerpe i lonce.
It's slightly abrasive.
Malo onako grebuckano.
It can clean it very nicely.
Može jako dobro da ga očisti.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about our cleansers if we're making our own.
Ne moramo da se brinemo za te hemikalije, možemo sami da ih napravimo.
Okay, now for the big one.
Evo sada je drugo veliko.
Inflammation.
Upala.
That's a major problem.
To je veliki problem.
Now, a doctor will give you an anti-inflammatory.
Doktor će vam dati nešto protiv upale.
And that's fine.
I to je u redu.
But there are some natural anti-inflammatories.
Ali postoje prirodne stvari koje pomažu protiv upale.
There's one right there.
Ovo je jedno.
All right, it's anti-inflammatory.
Ono je protiv upale.
But it's got other benefits.
Ali ono ima i druge korisne sastojke.
It's high fiber.
Ima visoku količinu vlakana.
It's got other benefits.
Ima i druge beneficije.
It's omega-3 fatty acids.
To je omega-3 masna kiselina.
You need to have this every day.
Ovo treba da imate svaki dan.
Freshly ground.
Znači sveže samleveno.
Why freshly ground?
Zašto sveže samleveno?
The better the oil, the more delicate it is.
Što je bolje ulje, to je i ukusnije.
Once you break that seed,
kada vi razložite to seme, slomite ga,
oxidation begins.
Znači postaje oksidacija.
Blend it up fresh.
Ako ga sveže samenjete,
put it on your cereal, put it on whatever your food is, your salad, whatever.
Stavite ga na salatu ili koju god namirnicu jedete.
There's one that's even better.
Ali ima nešto što je još bolje.
Kurkuma.
Kurkuma.
All right? Now many people just put it in water, stir it up and drink it.
Dosta ljudi samo stavi u vodu, malo promeša i popije.
That's fine.
To je u redu.
But your body can only absorb a small amount of this.
Ali vaš organizam će samo da uzme jako malu količinu toga.
Another name is turmeric, if you don't know curcuma.
Ako ne znate kurkumu, onda postoji izraz turmeric.
Okay, very common in Indian food.
Dosta je prisutno u indijskoj hrani.
Okay, but if you mix the curcuma with some oil.
Ako pomešate kurkumu sa uljem,
and my favorite oil is going to be coconut oil.
I moje omiljeno ulje je kokosovo ulje.
It's actually good for the brain.
To je stvari dobro za mozak.
You mix it up, put it on bread and eat it.
Pomešate malo sa hlebom i pojedete.
This makes it 12 times more available to the body.
Znači to čini da organizam 12 puta više može da uzme.
If you don't want to use oil, that's fine. There's another way.
Ako ne želite koristiti ulje, postoji drugi način.
Bring some water to a boil.
Znači neka voda proključa.
Now people always say, well, how much water?
Onda će ljudi reći koliko vode.
As much as you're going to drink in the next 3 hours.
Koliko god možeš da popiješ u sledeća 3 sata.
Once it's boiling.
Kada proključa.
Just a slow boil.
Polako ključanje.
You add your curcuma.
Dodajte kurkumu.
People are going to say, well, how much do I add?
Onda će ljudi pitaju koliko da dodam.
How much do you want to take?
Koliko god želite da popijete.
I'd say at least 2 teaspoons.
Ja kažem najmanje 2 kašičice.
Let it slow boil for 10 minutes.
I neka polako krčka 10 minuta.
Cool it.
Ohladite ga.
Drink it in 3 hours.
I popijte ga u roku 3 sata.
Again, your body takes up 12 times more.
I u ovom slučaju će organizam uzeti 12 puta više.
Now, is it really good for cancer?
I da li je to stvarno dobro protiv raka?
6 years ago this May.
I u maju će biti 6 godina.
I had an accident.
Imao sam jednu nesreću.
Riding my mountain bike.
Vozio sam planinski bicikl.
Broke 7 bones.
Slomio sam 7 kostiju.
Now, I've had 16 broken bones.
Ali generalno sam imao 16 slomljenih kostiju.
They are a little bit painful.
Bilo je malo bolno.
So someone brought me a bottle of curcuma tablets.
Onda mi je neko doneo flašicu sa tabletama kurkume.
I didn't take them.
Ja ih nisam uzeo.
But I took them to Japan with me.
Ali sam ih odneo u Japan sa mnom.
We do a cancer seminar every year in Japan.
I mi radimo seminar o raku u Japanu svake godine.
I remember the first night of my lectures.
Ja se sećam prvo večer na svom predavanju.
There she was, sitting over there.
I ova dama je sedela.
This was September 2013.
Ovo je septembar 2013.
Does she look happy?
Da li on izgleda veselo?
No, she wasn't.
Ne, ona to
She was in great pain.
Ona je bila u velikom bolu.
In August, 1 month before this,
U avgustu, znači mjesec dana pre toga,
she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer.
ona je dobila dijagnozu 4. stadijuma raka dojke.
She was given 3 months to live.
Dali su je 3 mjeseca života.
She was holding her blouse away from her breast.
Znači ona je držala svoju bluzu da ne dotačinje dojku.
She had a discharge from her breast.
Ona je imala isedak iz svoje dojke.
Well, as soon as my lecture is over,
Čim je moje predavanje se završilo,
I ran to my room and I got that bottle of curcuma tablets.
otišao sam u sobu i donosim je tu flašicu sa tabletama kurkume.
Came back down to her and says, here, take these.
Ja sam sišao dole i kažem, evo ti, uzmi ovo.
Take 2 every night.
Uzmi 2 svako večer.
Take 2 every morning.
I 2 svako jutro.
The next morning in class,
I sljedeće jutro na predavanju,
she was perfectly normal.
ona je bila sasvim normalna.
No pain,
Nije imala bol
no discharge.
i nije bilo isetka.
Now this is a picture of her in 2016.
Znači ovo je slika nje 2016.
She's still doing well.
I ona i dalje je dobra.
Now was it just the curcuma?
Dobro, da li je samo bilo kurkuma u pitanju?
No, she followed the whole program that we presented.
Znači ona je se pridržavala cijelog programa koji smo mi dali.
And she is a happy woman.
I ona je srećna i vesela žena.
She's a professor in Tokyo.
Ona je profesor u Tokiju.
Loves to teach.
Voli da uči, da predaje.
You know, if you've got cancer,
Ako imate rak,
do things you love to do,
radite stvari koje volite da radite.
long as it's safe.
A samo da je bezbedno.
Because when you do things you enjoy, it makes your immune system stronger.
Ako radite ono što volite, to čini vaš imunni sistem jačim.
Now, there are many other natural anti-inflammatories.
Postoji i drugi prirodni protivupalni stvari.
Things like chia,
Kao čija semenke,
goji berries.
goji bobice.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about inflammation.
Znači ne moramo da brinemo o upali.
What about not getting enough fruits and vegetables in the diet?
Šta ćemo sa nekonzumiranjem dovoljno voća i povrća u ishrani?
Another third of all cancers is caused by the diets that we eat.
Znači opet 1/3 svih vrsta raka je uzrokovana našom ishranom.
Now, I mentioned before there's about 100 different types of cancers.
Ja sam pomenuo ranije da postoje 100 različitih vrsta tipa raka.
And they're doing research on every one of them.
I oni rade istraživanja na svakom od njih.
How much research has been done on cancer?
Koliko istraživanja je učinjeno da bi se našlo rješenje za rak?
No one can count that high.
Niko ne može da broji toliko visoko.
But a bunch of scientists got together
Ali grupa naučnika se skupila
and they got 4,500 studies already completed.
i već imaju završenih 4.500 istraživanja.
And they searched every study,
I oni su izučavali svako istraživanje
asking one question:
i postavili jedno pitanje.
have we learned anything?
Da li smo nešto naučili?
And the conclusion was yes.
I zaključak je bio da da.
And they wrote the conclusion down.
I oni su napisali zaključak.
We don't need years of research.
Nama nisu potrebne godine istraživanja.
They found a common thread in every one of those studies.
Našli su zajedničku crtu kroz sva ta istraživanja.
What was it?
Šta je to bilo?
Diet.
Ishrana.
The diet we eat can be anti-cancer.
Ishrana koju mi jedemo može da zaustavi rak.
Now you know this vegetable here, right?
Vi znate ovo povrće.
Everything in that family is very strong anti-cancer.
Sve u toj porodici je dobro protiv raka.
Cauliflower and cabbage.
Znači, karfiol.
But just think about that one right there.
Samo zamislite ovo za trenutak.
That you can have it many different forms.
Možete ga imati u raznim formama.
In what form is that the most powerful anti-cancer?
U kojoj formi je ovo najjači za borbu protiv raka?
Yeah.
They say raw.
Raw. That's what most people are going to say is raw.
To će većina ljudi da kaže.
That's number 3.
Tu stvari broj 3.
What do you think number 2 is?
Šta misliš šta je broj 2?
Now there is a phytochemical in this group of family, the cruciferous families.
Znači, postoje fitokemikali u ovim porodici krstašica.
It is called sulforaphane.
Zove se sulfur.
Okay? And so basically it has sulfur in this phytochemical.
Znači, ima sumpor u tim fitokemikalijama.
If you lightly steam the broccoli,
Ako ga samo malo na pari prokuvate,
it breaks the sulfur bond,
ono rasturi taj lanac,
making it more powerful.
što ga čini još jačim.
But the number one way to take it for anti-cancer,
Ali broj jedan da uzmete u borbu protiv raka je,
get the seeds and sprout them.
znači klijajte semenke.
Sprouts are good food.
Znači klice su dobra hrana.
Okay, another study that was reported.
Još jedno istraživanje je objavljeno.
Right? If a woman eats just 2 servings of vegetables a day,
Ako osoba jede samo 2 porcije povrća na dan,
she drops her breast cancer risk by 30%.
Mogućnost od raka dojke spada 30%.
Now, I'm sure most of you are saying 2 servings. Everyone eats 2 servings.
A većina vas će reći, 2 porcije, svako jede 2 porcije.
A French fry is not considered a serving of a vegetable.
Znači, prženi krompirići nisu porcija povrća.
Nor is a bag of potato chips.
Ni chicken chips.
Matter of fact, I was in London a few years ago.
I pre par godina sam bio u Londonu.
There is a man on the street article in the newspaper.
I postoji jedan članak u novinama.
Man saying, how much vegetables do you eat?
I onda je postavljeno koliko vi povrća jedete.
There were people who eat no fresh fruits and vegetables. None.
To je ljudi koji ne jedu sveže voće i povrće.
Okay? Another interesting study.
Još jedno interesantno istraživanje.
This having to do with eggs.
Ovo radi se o jajima.
Right? Women who eat eggs on a regular basis,
žene koje jedu jaja na regularnom svakodnevno,
compared to those who rarely eat the things,
u poređenju s onima koji retko jedu,
risk of breast cancer is up 3.8 times.
rizik od dobijanja raka doje je 3,8 puta veći.
And if they're eating the eggs,
I ako jedu jaja,
their risk of ovarian cancer is up 3 times.
znači rak materice se poreće 3 puta više.
This is fatal ovarian cancer.
Znači to su fatalni...
A little bit further away from your mouth.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so now do men get breast cancer?
Da li muškarci dobijaju rak dojke?
Yes.
Da.
We get it too.
I mi ga isto dobijemo.
But there's one cancer women do not get.
Ali postoji jedna vrsta raka koju žene ne dobijaju.
That's going to be prostate cancer.
To će biti rak prostata.
All right? There's 5 things that lead men to get prostate cancer.
Postoji 5 koraka koje vode muškarca do raka prostate.
Now, this is reported in a medical journal called Cancer.
Znači, ovo je članak iz časopisa Rak.
Don't blame me, I'm just the reporter.
Nemojte mene da krivite, ja samo prenosim vest.
5 things.
5 stvari.
Meat, milk, eggs, cheese, and overweight.
Znači, mleko, jaja, sir, meso i gojazno.
And fish is meat.
I riba je meso.
It's not safe anymore.
Više nije sigurno.
20 years, 30 years, 50 years ago, safer.
Možda pre 20, 30, 50 godina je bilo sigurno.
Not today.
Ali danas ne.
All right, now, women eat meat too.
I žene jedu meso.
Women who rarely eat meat,
Žene koje retko jedu meso,
relative risk of 1 of fatal breast cancer.
relativni rizik 1 od fatalne raka dojke.
Those who eat it on a regular basis,
Oni koji ga svakodnevno jedu,
8.5 times greater risk.
8,5 puta veći rizik.
Plenty of good reasons to be vegetarians.
Imate dosta razloga da budete vegetarijanci.
Do you like your mother said, eat your vegetables?
Slušajte šta vam majka kaže kada treba da jedete povrće.
The immune system.
Imunni sistem.
All right? That's one of the most important systems God has given us.
To je jedan od najvažnijih sistema koji nam je Bog dao.
This is an interesting picture.
Ovo je interesantna slika.
These white things are killer T cells,
Ove bele stvari su ubica te ćelije.
part of your immune system.
Deo vašeg imunog sistema.
That yellow thing is a cancer cell.
A ovo žuto je rak.
When you get a cancer cell formed in your body,
Kada se stanica raka formira u telu,
it starts to reach out to its neighbors. It wants to spread its sickness to everybody else.
ona želi da proširi svoju bolest komšijama,
But the killer T's go right to that cell
ali te ćelije ubice idu ka njemu.
and they kill it.
I oni ga ubijaju.
So how can we keep our immune systems strong?
I kako mi možemo da držimo naš imunni sistem jakim?
Whole food, plant-based diet.
Znači, kompletno biljna ishrana.
Now, how many of you ever heard the term vegan?
Koliko od vas je čulo za termin vegan?
Anyone ever heard the term vegan?
Neko
Okay.
čuo?
You're hearing me, I'm not using that term.
Vi ćete mene, nećete čuti da ja koristim taj termin.
Why?
Zašto?
I'm not a vegan.
Ja nisam vegan.
I wear leather.
Ja nosim kožu.
I got leather shoes. I got a leather belt.
Kožne cipele, kožni kaiš.
And this is probably a wool coat.
I ovo je vuneni kaput.
Vegans have nothing to do with an animal.
Vegani nemaju ništa da rade sa životinjama.
I'm a whole food, plant-based vegetarian.
Ja sam vegetarijanc koji se isključivo hrani biljnom ishranom.
That strengthens your immune system.
To jača vaš imunni sistem.
Something else.
Još nešto,
Keep your pulse rate under 70.
držite vaš puls ispod 70.
But it's better if it's under 60.
Ali je čak bolje da ispod 60.
How do you do that?
Kako možete to da učinite?
How do you slow your pulse rate down?
Kako možete da usporite vaš puls?
Well, you exercise.
Fizička aktivnost.
Now, granted, it's a little bit more difficult if you live here in the city.
Malo je teže ako živite u gradu.
Well, if you really want to get a good exercise, walk down the middle of the street.
I ako stvarno želite dobru fizičku aktivnost, onda hodite niz ulicu.
Dodging all those cars will give you good exercise.
I pokušavajući da izbegnete sve automobile, to će dati dobru fizičku aktivnost.
Keep your urine pale.
Činite da vaša mokraća bude svetla.
How do you do that?
Kako možete to da učinite?
Drink more water.
Pijte više vode.
Your body has to have water.
Vaš organizam, telo, njemu je potrebna voda.
Okay, question from last night.
Pitanje od sinoć,
How much of your blood is water?
koliko je vode se nalazi u vašoj krvi?
92%.
92%.
That's the plasma part of your blood.
To je deo plazme.
Okay? Your body needs oxygen.
Vašem telu je potrebno kiseonik.
Cancer hates oxygen.
Rak ne voli kiseonik.
So breathe deeply.
Znači, duboko udahnite.
Breathe fresh air.
Udahnite svež vazduh.
Okay? You should have a window open in your homes.
Trebali da imate prozor otvoren u vašim domovima.
There's one thing that will kill our immune system.
Postoji nešto što će ubiti naš imunni sistem.
That's sugar.
To je šećer.
We don't need sugar in our bodies.
Nama nije potreban šećer u organizmu.
You remember my story about the cookies last night.
Ja sam sinoć pričao priču o kolačima.
When you eat a lot of sugar,
Kada jedete puno šećera,
it weakens your white blood cells.
to slabi vaša bela krvna zrnca.
But there's another problem with eating sugar.
Ali postoji još jedan problem kad jedete šećer.
Cancer loves it,
Rak to voli.
especially your favorite sugared treat.
Pogotovo vaš omiljeni šećer.
Now, we're going to be talking about diabetes.
Znači, govorit ćemo o dijabetesu.
The average plasma cell
Znači, prosječna plazma ćelija
will have 20,000 receptor sites for insulin.
imaće oko 20.000 receptora za insulin.
All your cells will have those receptor sites.
Znači, sve te ćelije će imati toliko receptora.
But if you have cancer
Ali ako imate rak,
and it really likes sugar,
a ono stvarno voli šećer,
somehow it gets that cell to produce more receptor sites for insulin.
nekako on dobije više tih receptora za insulin.
How many more?
Koliko više?
15 times more.
15 puta više.
You will accelerate the growth of that cancer.
Vi ćete ubrzati rast raka.
Let me tell you a story.
Evo ispričat ću vam priču.
Working in Japan,
Radio sam u Japanu.
had a woman who had very serious breast cancer.
Imao sam osobu koja je imala ozbiljnu vrstu raka dojke.
Gave her treatments,
Dao sam joj tretmane.
changed her lifestyle.
Promenio stil života.
She went back to her doctor.
Vratila se kod doktora.
He could not find the cancer.
I on nije mogao da nađe rak.
He says, come back next month. Something's wrong with my machines here.
Kaže, nešto nije u redu sa mojim mašinama, dođe sljedeći mesec.
Came back the next month.
Vratila se sljedeći mesec.
And the next month.
I sljedeći.
For 9 months.
9 meseci.
Till he finally says, you don't have cancer anymore.
Dok je rekao, ti nemaš rak.
She was doing great.
Ona je odlično napredovala.
But she liked candy.
Ali ona je volila slatkiše.
Now she knew all this. She got off of the candy.
Znači, ona je sve ovo znala, ona nije jela slatkiše,
But now she starts thinking,
ali ona počne da razmišlja.
a little bit won't hurt me.
Malo mi neće štetiti.
So she takes a few candy,
I ona uzima par bombona.
and she really liked this stuff.
I ona je stvarno to voljela.
Started eating a little bit more candy.
Malo više slatkog.
I remember the last time I visited this dear woman.
I ja se sjećam postupku kad sam obišao tu dragu ženu.
She was laying on her couch.
Ležala je na svom troselju.
And if you drew a line through her body,
I ako povucete crtu preko njenog tela,
The right side was all swollen.
Ovo desni deo je sad bio otečen,
Left side was normal.
a leva je bila normalna.
And she died of breast cancer.
I ona je umrla od raka dojke.
Cancer never goes away.
Rak nikad ne odlazi.
If you've had serious cancer,
Ako ste imali ozbiljan rak,
the body somehow encapsulates it.
organizam ga nekako ukapsulira
And it will stay encapsulated as long as you follow the program.
i on će biti ukapsuliran dok se god držiš programa.
And I've seen this over and over and over again.
I ja to viđam stalno.
Cancer's gone.
Rak ode,
Go back to the old lifestyle.
ljudi se vrate starom stilu života
And they're buried within a few months of cancer.
i oni su sahrani par meseci kasnije.
If you don't get enough sleep,
Ako nedovoljno spavate,
if you miss 2 hours of sleep,
ako samo izgubite 2 sata spavanja,
cut your immune system in half.
ono sreže vaš imunni sistem na pola.
Get your immune system strong.
Učinite vaš imunni sistem jak.
I've already mentioned, do things that you enjoy doing,
Znači, već sam pomenuo, radite stvari koje volite da radite.
and that will strengthen your immune system.
I to će ojačati vaš imunni sistem.
So we don't have to worry about that as a factor as long as we're keeping it strong.
Znači, mi ne moramo da se brinemo kao faktor ako držimo imunni sistem jakim.
Exercise.
Fizička aktivnost.
Is that important?
Da li je to važno?
Vitally important.
Jako važno.
4 hours of exercise a week
4 sata fizičke aktivnosti nedeljno,
decreases the risk of breast and colon cancer by 1/3.
znači umanjuje rizik raka dojke i debelog creva za 1/3.
But people say, I don't have time to
A
exercise.
ljudi će reći, ja nemam vremena da budem fizički aktivan.
Well, we do the things that we want to. We always have time to do the things we want to do.
Mi uvek imamo vremena da radimo stvari koje želimo.
And I really like Belgrade.
I meni se stvarno sviđa Beograd.
All the little tables outside and the little chairs, drinking the coffee.
Uvek ti mali kafići, stolice i ljudi piju kafu.
Walk around the city rather than drinking the coffee.
I mjesto da pijete kafu, hodajte oko grada malo.
When you get to the office, if you work in an office,
Kad dođete u kancelariju, ako radite u kancelariji,
don't take the elevator.
nemojte da uzmete lift.
Take the stairs.
Uzmite stepenice.
And if you drive to work,
I ako vozite na posao,
and I feel sorry for if you do,
i ja se stvarno žao mi je vas koji morate to da radite,
park the car 5 kilometers away
parkirajte auto 5 km od posla.
and walk 5 kilometers every
I
day.
onda hodajte 5 km.
You will find time to exercise.
Vi ćete naći vreme za fizičku aktivnost.
And if you don't find time to exercise,
I ako ne naćete vreme za fizičku aktivnost,
you're going to find time to be sick.
naćete vreme da budete bolesni.
Not just cancer.
Ne samo rak.
Matter of fact, a study, recently published study,
Jedno istraživanje koje je skoro izašlo,
people who sit 3 hours a day.
ljudi koji sede 3 sata na dan,
Now, that's not that's continuous hours, 3 hours a day, continuous.
sede 3 sata bez prestanka,
It caused 3.8% of all deaths in the world.
znači uzrokuje 3,8% smrtnih slučajeva u svetu.
That's a lot of dead people.
To je puno mrtvih ljudi.
We've got to move the bodies.
Moramo da se krećemo.
And we'll talk about this more when we go to diabetes and heart disease.
Znači više ćemo o tome govoriti kad govorimo o bolestima srca i dijabetesu.
See, I told you this last night.
Znači ovo sam sinoć govorio.
When we talk about one disease,
Kad govorimo o jednoj bolesti,
you're talking about all the diseases.
govorimo i o drugim bolestima.
Because we're not singling out this factor and that factor.
Znači mi ne izolujemo jedan faktor i drugi
We're
faktor.
looking at health.
Mi gledamo zdravlje.
If we get our exercise, we're going to be healthy.
Ako smo fizički aktivni, bit ćemo i zdravi.
So we don't have to worry about that one.
Znači ne moramo i o tome da brinemo.
Can you change your age?
Da li možete da promenite vaše godine, starost?
Yes.
Now remember what we said last night.
Znači sećate se šta smo sinoć rekli.
We got our life expectancy
Imamo životni vek, dužinu životnog veka
and our healthy life expectancy.
i dužinu zdravog životnog veka.
You can extend your healthy life expectancy.
Vi možete da produžite taj zdrav životni vek.
Very interesting study.
Jako interesantno istraživanje.
Okay, what about free radicals?
Šta ćemo sa slobodnim radikalima?
That is a free radical.
Ovo je slobodni radikal.
You see what the problem is.
Da li vidite u čemu je problem ovo?
It's missing an electron.
Nedostaje mu elektron.
In the second ring, there should be 8 electrons.
U drugom prstenu bi trebalo da ima 8 elektrona.
But it's missing one.
Ali mu nedostaje jedan.
So if it's missing an electron,
Ako mu nedostaje elektron,
it's going to steal one
on će da ukrade jedan
from the neighbor.
od komšije.
And then she's going to steal one from her neighbor.
I onda će ovaj drugi od ovog.
Then she's going to steal one.
I onda će ovaj drugi od ovog.
And it goes all the way down until it gets to the DNA.
I onda tako dolazi sve dok ne dođe do DNK.
And when it happens down there, that causes a mutation.
I kad dođe do toga, to prouzrokuje mutaciju.
And that's where most cancers are coming from, mutations.
I odatle dolaze svi tipovi raka od mutacije.
So, where do we find free radicals?
I gde nalazimo slobodne radikale?
We find it in polluted air,
Znači u zagađenom vazduhu,
out of the cities, out of the cities.
znači izađete iz gradova, izađete iz gradova.
We find it in tobacco smoke.
U duvanskom dimu,
You don't have to smoke it if you just smell it.
ne treba da pušite, dovoljno je da pasivno onako ga pušite.
All right? High fat diets.
Znači namirnice koje imaju puno masnoće u sebi,
Eating too much food will produce free radicals.
znači prejedanje će isto da proizvede slobodne radikale.
We can get too much radiation from the sunshine.
Znači možemo i dobiti previše radijacije od sunčeve svetlosti,
But don't blame the sunshine.
ali nemojte da krivite sunce.
Frankly, sunshine protects you from cancer.
U stvari sunce vas štiti od raka.
Two things will cause cancer from sunshine.
Dve stvari će uzrokovati rak od sunca.
Burning your skin
Da izgorite kožu
and a high fat diet.
i ishrana koja ima puno masnoće.
But we also get free radicals from the X-rays that we receive.
Znači mi dobijemo slobodne radikale od rengena koji uzimamo.
When I broke those 7 bones,
Kad sam ja slomio tih 7 kostiju,
I glowed in the dark.
ja sam svetle u mraku.
I had CAT scans, PET scans, X-rays.
I on je imao i rengene i razne
Yeah.
magnetne skenove.
Stress can cause free radicals to form in your body.
Znači stres isto može da prouzrokuje slobodne radikale u vašem telu.
If you injure yourself,
Ako se povredite,
you get inflammation.
imate upal.
Your immune system makes free radicals.
Vaš imunni sistem stvara slobodne radikale.
And as we get old, we develop more free radicals.
I kako starimo, mi dobijemo više slobodnih radikala.
Now, I don't know if I told you this last night.
Ja ne znam da li sam ovo govorio sinoć.
I usually tell an audience this.
Ja obično kažem ovo.
Get it in your mind.
Zapamtite ovo.
Old age is not a disease.
Starost nije bolest.
Don't surrender to the years.
Nemoj da se predate godinama.
Celebrate the years.
Slavite godine.
Gray hair is sort of like a medal that you wear.
Znači, seda kosa je jedna vrsta medalje koju nosite.
I survived.
Ja sam preživao.
And I'm still surviving.
I dalje preživljavam.
Yeah. Okay, now, there was another time when a lot of free radicals were released.
Postoji još jedno vreme kada se dosta oslobodilo slobodnih radikala.
August 1945.
Avgust 1945.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Hirošima i Nagasaki.
2 atomic bombs.
2 atomske bombe.
They put out a lot of radiation.
One su izbacile puno radijacije.
They measured in a unit called a Becquerel.
Oni su merili jedinicom Becquerel.
So those 2 atomic bombs,
I te 2 atomske bombe,
60 times 10 to the 15th power.
60 puta 10 na 15.
Now, what? 60 times. What does this mean?
Šta to znači 60, 10 na 15?
When an atom is broken,
Kada je atom razložen,
it sends off alpha and beta particles.
on šalje alfa i beta čestice.
They go shooting off.
Oni se razleću.
That's what happened when we had the nuclear fission in Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
To se dešava kada je ta nuklearna fuzija bila u Nagasaki i Hirošimi.
And it was 60 times 10 to the 15th power every second. Those things were shooting out.
Znači, svake sekunde se dešavalo to 60, 10 na 15, te čestice su se razletale.
Now, you might compare it to a hand grenade.
Može da ga uporedite kao sa ručnom granatom.
Does anyone know what a grenade is?
Da li neko zna šta je ručna granata?
Yeah, they're a gruesome instrument.
Jako loš instrument.
So this alpha and beta particles get into your DNA.
Znači, ove alfa i beta čestice ulaze u vaš DNK.
It's letting off those alpha and beta particles.
Znači, on samo ispušta te alfa i beta čestice.
That causes the mutation.
To prouzrokuje mutaciju.
Now, you've got your own problem in the backyard.
vi imate vaš problem u dvorištu.
You've heard of Chernobyl.
Čuli ste za Černobil.
And I spent a lot of time in Japan. They've got Fukushima Daiichi.
Ja sam proveo dosta vremena u Japanu, oni imaju Fukushimu Daiichi tamo.
Now, I said that the 2 bombs in Japan, 60 times 10 to the 15th power,
Ja sam rekao da one 2 bombe koje su bacene u Japanu bilo 60 puta 10 na 15.
that was miniature compared to Chernobyl.
To je minijatura u poređenju sa Černobilom.
How big was Chernobyl?
Koliko je veliki Černobil bio?
12,000 times 10 to the 15th power.
12.000 10 na 15.
That means every second,
To znači svake sekunde
those alpha and beta particles shooting out.
te alfa i beta čestice su se razletale.
Now, is the reactor okay now?
Da li je sada reaktor u redu?
No.
Ne.
When will it be okay?
Kad će on biti u redu?
I heard something recently. They say maybe in 1,000 years.
Ja sam skoro nešto čuo da su rekli za 1000 godina.
And they've been trying since 1986 to do something about the problem.
I ono 1986. pokušavaju da reše taj problem.
This is the latest one.
Ovo je zadnje.
Steel and concrete.
Znači, gvožđe i beton.
Basically trying to cover this reactor which is below ground there.
Znači, oni pokušavaju da pokriju taj reaktor koji je ispod zemlje.
It's a problem.
To je problem.
But we get radiation from other areas.
Ali mi dobijemo radijaciju iz drugih mesta.
You ever heard of radon?
Čuli se za radon?
We've got uranium in the earth.
Imamo uranijum u zemlji.
It breaks down to radium.
On se razloži u radiju.
It breaks down to radon.
I on se razloži u radon.
And it comes up in our basements of our homes. It comes up through the ground.
I on izlazi iz naših podruma i iz zemlje.
Okay? Dental x-rays.
Znači, ove snimci zuba.
All these different things that we're using.
I sve druge stvari koje koristimo.
Does anyone know the highest capital in the world?
Da li neko zna najviši glavni grad u svetu?
It's in Bolivia.
To je u Boliviji.
La Paz.
La Paz.
It's about 4,000 meters.
Oko 4000 metara nadmorske visine.
I've been there.
Bio sam tamo.
They have far more radiation than we have here.
Oni imaju puno više radijacije nego mi ovde.
There's less atmosphere there.
Ima manje atmosfere gore.
So they got a bigger problem.
I oni imaju veći problem.
When you take a trans-ocean airline flight,
Kada uzmete te prekookeanske letove,
you're getting a lot, you get about as much radiation as you do when you get a chest x-ray.
vi dobijete skoro isto ili ako ne i više radijacije nego kada imate rentgenski snimak.
And I make 6 of those every year.
I ja pravim 6 takvih letova svake godine.
This year will be 8 of them.
A ove godine će biti 8.
Another place we get them.
Još jedan gdje možemo da dobijemo.
If there's a nuclear power plant, it's putting out free radicals, radiation.
Ako imate reaktor, on isto izbacujete slobodne radikale.
Okay? And there's just cosmic radiation coming through our atmosphere all the time.
Znači kosmička zračenja koje prolaze kroz našu atmosferu.
So what can you do?
I šta možete da učinite?
First, clean your food.
Prvo, očistite vašu namirnicu.
You can wash most of the radiation off of your food.
Većinu radijacije možete da očistite sa vaše hrane.
Second thing,
Drugu stvar,
our bodies want the very best.
organizam želi ono što je najbolje.
All right, there's 2 apples.
Ovo su 2 jabuke.
Which one would you rather eat?
Koji bi radije vi pojeli?
Yeah, everyone's going to say this one here.
Svi će reći ovo.
That's what the body wants.
To je organizam što želi.
Sorry, I just ate it.
Izvinite, ja sam upravo pojeli.
This is what's left.
Ovo je jedino što je ostalo.
If you're hungry enough, you will eat it.
Ako ste dovoljno gladni, vi ćete pojesti.
That's the way the body is.
Takvo je telo.
All right, let's look at some elements the body wants.
I evo neke elemente koje organizam traži.
It wants sulfur.
Znači, traži sumpor.
That's the good apple.
To je dobra jabuka.
But if you're not getting enough sulfur in your diet,
Ali ako ne dobijate dovoljno sumpora u ishrani,
there's sulfur 35.
onda je tu sumpor 35.
That's a radioactive isotope.
To je radioaktivni isotop.
Okay? It's got a half-life of 87 days.
Njegov polovičan život je 87 dana.
Where do we find sulfur?
Gde nalazimo sumpor?
I already told you.
Već sam rekao.
Cruciferous vegetables.
Znači u krstašicama.
And garlic. And onions.
Luk, crveni luk.
Okra.
Okra.
There's plenty of good foods filled with sulfur.
Ima dosta namirnica koji imaju dosta sumpora.
All right? Then there's the good apple called yod.
I onda ima dobro jabuko koje zove se jod.
But if you don't have enough yod in your body,
Ali ako nemate dovoljno joda u ishrani,
then you get the bad apple.
onda dobijete lošu jabuku.
Yod 131.
Jod 1,31.
One of the most carcinogenic of all of them.
Jedan koji je od najvećih kancerogena.
So where can we get yod?
Ali gdje možemo dobimo jod?
It's in our foods.
To je u našoj ishrani.
Just, seaweed is a good source of yod.
Morske alge su jako dobar izvor joda.
You recognize this here.
Ovo prepoznajete.
That's Himalayan salt.
To je himalajska sol.
It's got all the minerals that we need.
Ima sve minerale koji su potrebni.
Let me recommend what you can do.
I evo što vam savjetujem.
Get half a liter of water.
Uzmite pola litre vode.
Put some of this Himalayan salt in and stir it until it dissolves.
Stavite malo himalajske soli, mutite dok se ne istopi.
Add some more, stir it till it dissolves.
Dodajte još, dok se još ne istopi.
Keep adding it until it no longer dissolves.
Dodajte dok ne prestane da se topi.
It's reached saturation.
Znači, došlo je do zasićenosti.
Then take 1 teaspoon of that water.
Onda uzme jednu kaščicu te vode.
Add it to your drinking water.
Stavite u vašu pijeću vodu.
All your minerals.
To su svi minerali.
Okay? But now let's say, what happens if we've already got iodine 131 in our bodies?
Ali šta se dešava ako imamo već jod 1,31 u našem telu?
And it's going to go right to your thyroid.
Ići će pravo u vašu štitnu žlezdu.
We can take it out of the thyroid.
Mi možemo da ga izvadimo iz štitne žlezde.
We can use something like charcoal.
Možemo da koristimo nešto kao aktivni ugalj.
Okay? How does that work?
Kako to radi?
Well, let's say that the magnet is charcoal.
Hajmo da kažemo da je magnet aktivni ugalj.
The nails are iodine 131.
A ovi ekseri su jod 1,31.
It sucks it right to it.
On ga upravo privuče ka njemu.
So here's what you do.
I evo što možete učiniti.
If you have any concern whatsoever,
Ako imate neku brigu o nečemu,
get some charcoal tablets.
uzmite neki aktivni ugalj tablete.
Put some in your mouth at night.
Stavite ih u usta.
They'll just stay there stuck to your cheeks and gums.
Znači oni će se zalepiti za vaša usta i zube.
As you're swallowing small amounts of charcoal,
Kako kutate polako taj aktivni ugalj,
it's going to pull the iodine 131 out of your thyroid.
on će izvući taj jod 1,31 iz vaše štitne žlezde.
Iron.
Gvožđe.
If you don't have enough iron in your diet,
Ako nemate dovoljno gvožđe u vašoj ishrani,
plutonium.
plutonijum.
You don't want that.
Vi to ne želite.
Half-life?
Polovičan život.
Now we're getting serious. 88 years.
Sad je ozbiljno, 88 godina.
You do not want to be anemic.
Vi ne želite da budete anemični.
So we got to eat deep green leafy vegetables.
Znači moramo da jedemo duboko zeleno lisnato povrće.
Tomato sauce, high in iron.
Sos od paradajza ima veliku količinu gvožđa.
Soybeans, pumpkin seeds, molasses.
Soja, udevine, semenke, molasa.
Get good sources of iron in your body.
Uzmite dobre izvore gvožđa za vaše telo.
Calcium.
Kalcijum.
That's the good apple.
To je dobra jabuka.
But if you're not getting enough,
Ali ako ne dobijate dovoljno,
strontium 90.
dobit ćete stroncijum 90.
But everyone gets enough calcium.
Ali svi dobijaju dovoljno kalcijuma.
The problem is we lose most of it.
Ali problem je što ga vi više gubimo.
How do you lose it?
Kako ga gubimo?
High protein diets,
Visokoproteinska ishrana,
high sodium diets,
ishrana koja ima puno slanog natrijuma
high phosphorus diets.
i ishrana koja ima puno fosfora.
All right? Most people, if I ask you where do we get our calcium from,
I kad vas pitao gdje dobijate vaš kalcijum,
you'd say you get it from a cow.
vi ćete reći da
Okay.
od krave.
288 milligrams per a cup. Yeah.
288 mg po mililitru, 250 ml.
Is that pretty good?
Da li je to dobro?
Look at greens.
Ajde pogledamo za zeleno povrće.
Between 3 and 516 milligrams per cup of cooked greens.
300 do 516 mg po jednoj čaši šoške.
You can get your calcium from the plant kingdom.
Možete da dobijete kalcijum iz biljnog izvora.
Soy milk.
Sojino mleko,
Plenty of good stuff.
puno ima dobrih stvari.
Now let's go back to Nagasaki.
Hajmo da se sad vratimo na Nagasaki.
There was a doctor in Nagasaki when the bomb was dropped.
Postoji doktor u Nagasakiju koji je bio tamo kad je bomba bačena.
Dr. Akazuki.
Doktor Akazuki.
He was a young 29-year-old doctor in the hospital.
On je bio mlad doktor, ima 29 godina u toj bolnici.
The hospital is 1.4 kilometers from the center of the blast.
Znači, bolnica je bila 1,4 km od epicentra.
Many people were vaporized when the bomb went off.
Znači, puno ljudi je uništeno instantno kad je bomba bila bačena.
But far more died from the radiation poisoning.
Ali puno više njih je umrlo od trovne radijacije.
But nobody in his hospital even got sick.
Ali niko u njegovoj bolnici se nije čak ni razboleo.
Because he had been studying radiation.
Jer je on izučavao radijaciju.
He knew that we were exposed to X-rays.
On je znao da se mi izlažemo rengenskim snimcima i radijaciji.
Cosmic rays.
Kosmičkim zracima.
Radon. And he found a way to protect us.
I on je našao način kako da nas zaštiti.
And you can do it too.
I vi to možete da učinite.
One, no sugar.
Bez šećera.
Not one grain of sugar.
Čak ni jednu mrvicu šećera.
Two,
broj 2.
What did he feed them?
S čim ih je hranio?
Whole rice.
Znači integralni pirinač.
Now you don't have to eat whole rice.
Znači vi ne morate da jedete integralni pirinač.
It's the principle.
Ovo je princip sad.
Whole grains.
Znači celovite žitarice.
High in fiber.
Ima puno vlakana.
High in minerals.
Puno minerala.
All right? He gave them miso soup.
Dao im je miso supu.
You don't have to eat miso soup.
Ne morate da jedete miso supu.
Eat things that are high in probiotics.
Jedite namirnice koje imaju dosta probiotika.
Every once in a while, a little bit of fermented food.
Znači malo nekih kiselih stvari.
Don't eat it on a regular basis.
Nemojte stalno da jedete.
But you got to make sure you got the right bacteria in your gut.
Znači mora da pazite da imate dobru tu crevnu floru.
He gave them what's called Hokkaido pumpkin.
Daju mi Hokkaido tikve.
Don't worry about that.
Nemojte da se brinete o tome.
What's the principle?
Koji je princip ovdje?
Whole plant-based foods.
Znači celovite namirnice.
And you got plenty of them here in Serbia.
I u Srbiji ih imate dosta.
He gave them sea vegetables.
Daju mi morske alge.
Well, that's because you're going to get lots of minerals there.
To je zato što ćete dobiti dosta minerala tu.
Especially the jod.
Pogotovo jod.
But you can get that in your good plant-based foods too.
Ali to može dobiti u vašoj biljnoj ishrani.
Then he gave them sea salt.
Onda im je dao morsku sol.
So all he did.
To je sve što učinio.
And nobody got sick.
I niko se nije razbolao.
We can do these things.
Mi možemo ove stvari da učinimo.
We've been talking about free radicals.
Znači govorili smo o slobodnim radikalima.
Well, God made a thing called antioxidants.
Znači Bog je napravio nešto što se zove antioksidanti.
What is an antioxidant?
Šta je antioksidant?
Right? This is a primitive illustration of an antioxidant.
Ovo je neka primitivna ilustracija antioksidanta.
This is a free radical.
Ovo je slobodni radikal.
All right, now, free radical, it's going to cause damage.
Znači slobodni radikali će uzrokovati oštećenje.
So what is the antioxidant going to do?
I šta će antioksidant da učini?
It's going to take one of its electrons
Uzet će jedan od svojih elektrona
and move it down to the free radical.
i daće ga slobodnom radikalu.
Now, is this a free radical?
Da li je ovo slobodni radikal?
No.
Ne.
Is this a free radical?
Da li je ovo slobodni radikal?
That's the amazing thing about creation.
To je nevjerovatna stvar o stvaranju.
It can give up electrons all day and never become free radical.
Ono može stalno da laje elektroni da nikad ne postane slobodni radikal.
You want protection?
Da li želite zaštitu?
There it is.
Evo je ovdje.
Our beautiful colored foods.
Naša predivna obojena hrana.
They will protect you.
Oni će vas zaštititi.
So we don't have to worry about free radicals and radiation.
Ne mora da vidimo s slobodnim radikalima i radijaciji.
Leaves one down there.
Još jedan manje.
Viruses.
Virusi.
Now, can viruses cause cancer?
Da li virusi prouzrokuju rak?
Well, as a matter of fact, it can.
Oni mogu.
In the 1960s,
1960.
two doctors received the Nobel Prize
Dva doktora su dobila Nobelovu nagradu
by showing that some cancers are caused by viruses.
pokazivajući da su neki rakovi uzrokovani virusom.
So what can we do about the viruses?
Šta možemo odlučiti što se tiče virusa?
We already talked about it.
Već smo o tome govorili.
Keep that immune system strong.
Držite taj imunni sistem jakim.
You won't have to worry about it.
I nećete morati da brinete o tome.
Okay, I'm a little bit over time.
Malo sam prešao vreme.
Whew, a lot of program left, but I think we've got enough for tonight.
Imamo dosta još programa ostalo, ali ne znam, mislim da je dovoljno.
Because what I'm leaving out, you're going to find also in diabetes and heart disease.
I guess the people you want more.
You want more?
Želite još?
Well, let me say this.
Evo reći vam nešto.
I won't be offended if you feel like you've got to leave now.
Ja se neću ljutiti ako vi sada morate da odete.
But if you really want some more of the program,
Ali ako želite još programa,
I'm willing to stay.
ja sam spreman da ostanem.
I'm here for one purpose,
Ja sam ovdje zbog jednog cilja.
to help you.
Da vam pomognem.
I don't fly all around the world to take vacations,
Ja ne putujem okolo po svetu da uzimam godišnje odmore.
although I did take a vacation this trip.
Iako sam uzeo neki godišnji odmor na ovom putu.
We went down to Greece for a day,
Otišli smo u Grčku na jedan dan.
and came back and did a lecture that night.
I onda to večer smo imali predavanje.
Okay, so viruses.
Virusi.
How do viruses get into your body in the first place?
Kako virusi ulaze u vaše telo?
Well, there's basically 4 main avenues.
Postoje 4 puta.
Keep your fingers out of them.
Znači, ne držite prsti unutra.
We get them through the nose.
Kroz nos.
We get them through the mouth.
Kroz usta.
Get them through the eyes.
Kroz oči.
And we can get them right through our skin.
I kroz kožu.
So if you've got something in your eye,
Ako imate nešto u očima,
don't just take your hand and go up there and start working around your eye.
nemojte da uzmete prsti samo da kopate.
I mean, you touched the doorknob when you came in the building.
Vi ste dotakli bravu kad ste ulazili u zgradu.
And who knows what's on that doorknob?
I ko zna šta je na toj kvaki.
So carry some tissues.
Uzmite neke maramice.
And you can do it with your tissue.
I onda uzmite s maramicom.
We don't need those things in our bodies, the viruses. All right? We need to keep our clothes clean.
Moramo da državamo našu garderobu čisto.
And when you buy food in the market,
I kada kupujete namirnicu u prodavnici,
you don't know what was on it before you bought it.
vi ne znate šta je bilo na njoj pre toga.
Keep it clean.
Držite ga čisto.
Always wash your food.
Stalno perite.
So we take care of that one there too.
Znači, i toga smo se rešili.
And age, like I say, it's relative.
I starost godine su relativne.
My mother will be 96 in June.
Moja majka će biti 96 u junu.
I'll show you her picture, if I haven't already, in one of these programs when she was her 90th birthday.
Pokazat ću vam u jednog programa njenu sliku kad imala 90 godina.
We need to make our bodies unfriendly for cancer.
Znači, mi moramo da učimo naše telo tako da nema prijatnu atmosferu.
Cancer likes an acid environment.
Rak voli kiselu sredinu.
Meat, pH,
pH vrednost mesa
5.4 to 5.7.
5.4 do 5.7.
Okay? Vinegar, 2.
Sirće broj 2.
Don't put vinegar on your salad.
Nemojte da stavljate sirće na vašu salatu.
Clean your house with it.
Čistite kuću s tim.
Beer, pH of 3.
Pivo je pH vrednost 3.
Wine, a pH of 4.
Vino je pH vrednost 4.
Milk, a pH of 6.
Mleko je pH 6.
All of those things are acid.
Sve su te namirnice kisele.
Now, what is the perfect pH for the human body?
Koji je savršena pH vrednost ljudskog tela?
I'm going to teach you how to never forget.
Naučit ću vas da nikad ne zaboravite.
All right? pH stands for hydrogen potential.
Znači, potencijal hidrogena, to je znak pH.
How many days are in a week?
Koliko dana postoji u godini, u nedelji?
All right?
7.
How many days are in a year?
Koliko dana u godini?
That's the perfect pH.
To je savršeni pH.
Anything below that
Sve ispod toga
tends towards acidity.
ide ka kiselosti.
And cancer says, thank you.
A rak kaže, hvala.
So, what are some high acid foods besides the ones I've mentioned?
Koje su namirnice koje imaju dosta kiselosti u sebi?
Processed foods.
Rafinisane namirnice.
They're going to cause acidity.
Oni će uzrokovati kiselost.
Now, what happens if your pH drops to 6.8?
Šta se dešava ako vaš pH padne na 6.8?
Don't worry about cancer.
Ne brinite o raku.
You're dead.
Mrtvi.
Your pH stays in a very careful range.
Znači, vaš pH je uvek u nekim granicama.
So as soon as you put these acidic things into your body,
I čim stavite ove kisele stvari u vaš organizam,
your body has to add an alkali.
znači, vaš organizam mora da ubaci neku alkalnost.
What's the main alkali in your body?
Koji je glavni alkalni materijal u vašem telu?
Calcium.
Kalcijum.
So it's going to take some calcium out of your bones and your teeth
Znači, on će izvući kalcijum iz vaših zuba i kostiju
to bring your blood back into a safe range.
da vrati vašu krv u neki sigurni okvir.
Once it's done that,
Kad je to učinilo,
you will excrete the calcium.
onda ćete vi izmokriti kalcijum,
Bye-bye bones.
pozdravite kosti,
Hello stones.
dođite kamenje.
Yeah, you don't want kidney stones either.
Vi ne želite kamenje u bubrezima.
So what's an alkaline diet?
Kakva je alkalna ishrana?
Fruits,
Povrće, voće,
vegetables,
povrće,
legumes,
mahunarke,
nuts and seeds.
orašasti i polodove semenke.
Now, grains tend towards acidity.
Znači, žitarice imaju tendenciju da budu malo.
I'm not saying don't eat bread.
Ja vam ne kažem da ne jedete hleb.
Just make sure when you're eating bread, you're eating a good plant-based whole food diet.
Znači, jedite hleb onako celovitim žitaricama.
There's something else that cancer loves.
Postoji još nešto što rak voli.
It loves milk.
Voli mleko.
It produces mucus.
Ono proizvodi šlajm.
And cancer lives off a slime.
I rak živi od šlajma.
Okay? We have a thing in our bodies called insulin-like growth factor.
Mi u tijelu imamo nešto što se zove kao insulin faktor rasta.
It's made up of 70 amino acids.
Ono je sačinjeno 17 aminokiselina.
We got it in our bodies. It's a good thing.
Imamo ga u organizmu, to je dobro.
But there's another protein that looks just like it.
Postoji još jedan protein koji je isto takav.
That's in cow's milk.
On se nalazi u kravljem mleku.
And that's going to have a whole lot more of this.
I on će tamo biti prisutan 10 puta više.
And if we're putting too much of this in our body,
I ako stavljamo previše toga u naše tijelo,
it can cause the division of cancer 10 times faster.
znači on može da prouzrokuje rast raka 10 puta brže.
So basically, milk is a cancer food.
I u stvari mleko je hrana za rak.
Japan,
Japan.
every year since 1946,
Svake godine 1946.
they're doing this study.
Rade ovo istraživanje.
They're looking at cancer rates,
Rade istraživanje o raku.
all disease rates,
I rast svih drugih bolesti.
growth rates.
I porast.
And then, every year they do this.
I oni to svake godine čine.
Well, in 1975, they look back 25 years.
I 1975. oni su sagledali zadnjih 25 godina.
And they're looking at one factor in those 25 years.
I oni su gledali jedan faktor u tih 25 godina.
That was dairy consumption.
Znači, to je konzumiranje mlečnih proizvoda.
In 1950,
I 1950.
2.5 kilos per person per year.
Znači, 2,5 kilograma je osoba konzumirala na godišnjem nivou.
1975,
1975.
53.3 kilos per person per year.
Znači, 53,3 kilograma je jedna osoba godišnje koristila.
So their diet changed.
Znači, njihova ishrana se promenila.
But something else changed too.
Ali još nešto se promenilo.
Yeah, strokes went up 38%.
Znači, moždani udari su se povećali 38%.
Heart disease went up 35%.
Bolesti srca 35%.
Breast cancer went up 77%.
Rak dojke 77%.
Colon cancer went up 77%.
Rak treba 77%.
Lung cancer went up 300%.
Rak pluća 300%.
And they're tracing it all back to the increase in dairy in the diet.
I oni sve to povezuju sa povećanom konzumiranjem mlečnih proizvoda.
But something else happened.
Ali još nešto se desilo.
In 1950,
1950.
the average Japanese girl reached puberty at 15.2 years.
Prosječna Japanka je ulazila u pubertet sa 15,2 godine.
25 years later,
25 godina kasnije,
they had dropped 3 years.
izgubili su 3 godine.
Now, some people say, oh, that's good, they're growing up fast.
Neko će reći, to je dobro, oni rastu brže.
Now, when you start producing your adult hormones too early,
Ali u stvari kako vi proizvodite vaše odrasle hormone pre rano,
greatly increases your risk of cancer later in life.
u velikoj meri povećava rizik od raka kasnije u životu.
I mentioned sunshine.
Pomenuo sam sunčevu svetlost.
It protects you from 16 types of cancers.
To vas štiti od 16 različitih vrsta raka.
3 of those being female cancers.
3 od toga su ženske vrste raka.
What's the factor?
Koji je faktor ovdje?
Now, we realize that sunshine strengthens the immune system.
Shvatate da sunce jača vaš imunni sistem.
It turns body oils into bacteriological agents.
Znači, on pretvara vaše masnoće u bakterijske agente.
But that's not what it does. That's not the important thing.
Ali to nije najvažnija stvar.
Women with breast cancer
Žene sa rakom
have low levels of vitamin D.
imaju nizak nivo vitamina D.
We get vitamin D from the sunshine.
Mi dobijemo vitamin D iz sunčeve svetlosti.
It converts cholesterol into vitamin D through a process.
On obrađuje kolesterol i pretvara u vitamin D.
If a woman has breast cancer
Ako žena ima rak
and her vitamin D is low,
i ako je njen vitamin D nizak,
her risk of metastases is 94% higher.
je rizik od metastaze 94% veći.
And her risk of dying is 73%
I
higher.
rizik da umre je 73% veći.
If you know someone with breast cancer,
Ako znate nekog ko ima rak dojke,
they've got to get sunshine.
oni moraju da dobiju sunčevu svetlost.
Just don't burn the skin.
Samo nemojte da izgorite kožu.
Okay? Johns Hopkins did a study on things that feed cancer.
Znači, John Hopkins bolnica radila istraživanje šta hrani rak.
Number one thing on the list,
Broj 1 na toj listi,
your attitude.
vaš stav.
It's a disease of the mind, the body, and the spirit.
To je bolest uma, duše i tela.
Two people.
Dvoje ljudi.
Which one's the candidate for cancer?
Koji je ovdje kandidat za rak?
The unhappy one.
On je nesrećni.
How important is happiness?
Koliko je važno veselje, sreće?
Now we're talking about this on Friday night.
Znači, ovdje ćemo govoriti u petak uveče.
They say being happy is as equal a factor in health as not smoking.
Znači, biti vesel je jednak faktor kao i da ne pušite.
Okay? Another thing that we know promotes cancer
Još jednu stvar što znamo da promoviše rak
and heart disease.
i bolesti srca.
That's chlorinated water.
To je hlorisana voda.
And it's everywhere.
I to je svugde prisutno.
I don't drink water from a faucet.
Ja ne pijem vodu iz česme.
Okay? Another thing,
Još jedna stvar,
the way our diets have changed.
znači kako se naša ishrana promenila.
The last 100 years,
Zadnjih 100 godina
fat's gone up 36%.
masnoće su porasle 36%.
Some places a lot more.
Negde i čak više.
Fiber's gone down
Vlakna su se smanjila
by a third.
za 1/3.
Now there's 3 countries that lead the world in 3 types of cancers.
Postoje 3 zemlje koje vode u 3 tipa raka.
Prostate cancer,
Rak prostate,
breast cancer,
rak dojke
and colon cancer.
i rak debelog creva.
The 3 countries,
3 zemlje,
God bless America,
neka God blagoslovi Ameriku,
Canada,
Kanadu
and New Zealand.
i Novi Zeland.
They all have high fat and low fiber diets.
Sve te države imaju visoku količinu masnoće i nisku konzumiranje vlakana.
All right, I mentioned at the very beginning when you form a cancer cell
Ja sam na početku rekao kada formirate ćeliju raka
and your body doesn't stop it,
i organizam tu ne prestane,
it starts to grow.
on počinje da raste.
Now you remember the first golden pillar.
I sećate se prvog zlatnog stuba,
The life is in the blood.
život je u krvi.
The cancer has to have its own blood.
Znači, rak mora da ima svoj krvotok.
When it's small, you can get it from the surrounding tissues.
Ako je mali, on može da ga dobije iz okolnih tkiva,
But as it gets larger,
ali kako postaje veći,
it's got to get it from the surrounding blood vessels. It's going to have its own blood supply.
on će tražiti u stvari svoj lični krvotok.
Okay? How does it do that?
Kako on to čini?
Well, it puts out these chemical factors.
On izluči hemikalije
And it tells the surrounding tissues to build a blood vessel to it.
i on kaže ovom tkivu da ono gradi krvotok ka njemu.
So if you don't want the cancer to have blood,
I ako ne želite da rak dobije krvotok,
stop that process.
zaustavite taj proces.
How do you do it?
Kako to može da učiniti?
Red grapes will do it.
Znači, crveno grožđe to
It's got a COX-2 inhibitor.
imate neke inhibitore,
Curcuma will do it.
kurkuma će isto to učiniti,
Okay? Soy will do it.
soja će isto to učiniti.
So many things we can take that are natural.
Znači, puno stvari možemo prirodno da uzmemo.
Won't make your hair fall out.
Ovo vam neće učiniti da vam kosu
Okay?
izgubite.
Something that cancer really hates.
Nešto što rak stvarno ne voli,
It hates heat. It
ne
hates.
voli toplotu.
So we use hydrotherapy treatments for people with cancer.
I mi koristimo hidroterapije za ljude koji imaju rak.
Raise their temperature.
Podignemo njihovu telesnu
Get in a
temperaturu,
bathtub.
oni uđu u kadu
Doing a hot foot bath.
ili radimo toplu kupku stopala
And that can stop the cancer from growing.
i to može da zaustavi rak od rasta.
All right? You know, I'm not completely against medications.
Ja nisam kompletno protiv lekova,
There's a time we've got to use them.
ali nekada postoji vreme kad moramo da ih koristimo.
But I like the medicines that God gives us.
Ali ja volim lekove koje nam Bog daje.
Take those foods.
Uzmite ove namirnice.
That's what's going to keep you well.
To će vas učiniti budete zdravi.
Okay, tomorrow night.
Dobro, sutra uveče
I think we're talking about diabetes. Right?
govorimo o heart disease.
Heart disease.
Govorimo o bolesti srca.
See you tomorrow.